Okay, students, the poet has used some figures of speech. A figure of speech is a deviation from a common mode of writing, and it is a word or phrase with a specialized meaning. Figures of speech often provide emphasis, freshness of expression, or clarity. So, the figures of speech the poet basically uses in their poetry just to clarify the meaning and just to beautify the language of the poem. So the poet has used some figures of speech in this poem as well, just to beautify and just to enhance the meaning of the poem. As we have done the explanation of the poem in a very simple word, then we have started the analysis of the poem in which we did the rhyme scheme. So further, the poet has used some figures of speech. So let's start with the figures of speech that the poet has used. The chief figures of speech are simile, metaphor, personification, alliteration, and imagery. Simile is a figure of speech in which like or as is used to make a comparison. For example, her eyes twinkle like stars. She was as busy as a bee. So what is simile? Simile means when a poet compares one thing with another. When we compare one thing with another and we use some comparative words. And what are the comparative words that we use? Like or as, such as. So if we use some comparative words like or as and we compare one thing with another, this is called simile. As we have example number one, her eyes twinkle like star. So in this example, you can see her eyes twinkle. We can also say like her eyes twinkle, but we have given comparison with star. How many things are there? There are two things, eyes and then stars. So we have compared eyes with stars. And we have used some comparative word. And what is the comparative word that we have used? That is like. This is called simile. And the second example, she was as busy as a bee. We can also say she was busy. But here we have given a comparison that somebody is as busy as a bee. So we have used a comparative words, and what is the comparative words that we have used is as busy as bee. I hope you have understood what is simile. In this poem, the poet or the speaker compares himself to a natural element that is cloud. If you could remember, in the very first stanza, the poet compares himself with a cloud. As I have told you, the poet is comparing himself with a cloud. And why does the poet compare himself with a cloud? Because the poet says that as he was alone, so similarly cloud is also alone in the sky, and that cloud floats over hills and valleys. As the poet was also moving from one place to another, in the same way the cloud also moves from one place to another. And where does a cloud move? The cloud moves over high vales and hills. And the poet has made the comparison. I wandered lonely as a cloud. So the poet has compared himself with a cloud, and the poet has used comparative word that is as. And then the poet has also compared the daffodils with the star due to their large number and shine. The speaker or the poet notes how the flowers seem to go on without ending alongside of a bay, as the stars are stretched in never-ending line on the Milky Way. So in the second stanza, we can also see the poet has compared the stars with the daffodils. If you could only remember, the poet has also compared the daffodils with stars. And why did the poet compare the daffodils with the star? Because daffodils were in a great number, in a large number, a host of golden daffodils, and a large number or crowd of daffodils. So the poet has also told us that the stars are also unlimited in number, as the daffodils were also endless. So the poet has made a comparison between daffodils and star just because of number. And then the poet also says that the daffodils shine like star. The daffodils also twinkle or shine like star. As stars shine at night, similarly, the daffodils shine very brightly in the daylight. So the poet has made the comparison due to the large number and shine. And the poet has used the comparative word. And what is the comparative word that the poet has used? Continuous as the star that shines. This is the example of simile. And the poet has used simile in the poem.